Okay, it's a Sunday session for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently up 0.67%. It is currently trading at 64,742. It's up $433. Trying to bounce around the 20-day moving average. As I've talked about, Bitcoin can get a pullback here and still rise up above this 66,920 peak right here that we've had and still try to reach the declining trend line. It is dropping, not this trend line, but the other trend line. It may slam into this trend line as well right here, this blue one, but the longer term trend line going back to the October high. I told you back at the top, we're going to get a crash wave, one down that's going to likely take out 60,000 and then bounce. That's happened. We've taken out 60,000 and now we're bouncing. I told you I thought we might go a little bit lower. If we can get back above the 10 and 20 period moving average, the move was done. And you get back above the wave one, then the move is done. We got confirmation of that by pushing here above this rally, pushed above this low right here. And that validated this as a bottom. Told you that this was likely then wave A, and that we're getting B, and that we're now getting this ABC move back up, which I think could still possibly go a little bit higher. I do not think we're going above the 200 period moving average, which is where we got rejection back when I called this lower high peak here on May 6th. Rallying into the 200 period moving average. I got a bunch of warning signs, and then we got a lower high, and we tested the 200 again. A little hard to see there. I got a lot of annotations here, but the 200 period, the black line right here, now at the 72,000 area, or 61.8 Fibonacci is just above 73,000. That level right there that I've marked right here with the upper boundary right here. This is the 73,200, just under 200. The 200-day moving average is just under that at the 72,000 area right now. I don't believe this rally will go above that, and more than likely will stall just above our peak here at 66,900 or just below it if this is the peak. And I've talked about this in every video. Again, when I told you, okay, we see evidence right here that the bottom's in the short term after a 30% drop at 57,739. A 5-leg push lower, completing wave one, the blue count right there. We're going to get the wave two. It's not going to go above the 200 period moving average. And I told you it was likely going to go to the 38.2 Fibonacci just below it, which we've done here, or just above it. Somewhere above it between 67,000 and 70,000, which is our 50% retracement right here. Again, I think that you're probably just going to pop above this level here. If we do go to a new high, somewhere between the 67,000 and 70,000 area. If we have peaked, and that's all she wrote, which it could be, we got to get evidence of that by everything flipping to bearish. And do yourself a favor, watch the video all the way through. I have some very important information to share with you, and if you don't watch the video all the way through, you will miss it, and you will not have the information that everybody else has. It's information that most people in the crypto community do not have. Very important information. Watch the video all the way through. Quickly, one other thing here is we're breaking the trend line. Now, trend lines do change. So if we are breaking down a back testing, start losing the 20 period, we're trying to bounce off the 20 period, the blue line, a little hard to see there. Start taking out the 50 period moving average, the green line right here, then this move could be done. That would be evidence. Like I was looking for evidence of a bottom over here. But if we bounce and get back above the broken red trend line, rather than back testing it back above the 10 period and move aggressively towards this high, then the trend line could be changing. Trend lines change all the time. I told you over here, I thought before this move started, once this move is done down, that we're either likely going to get a bear flag like we had right over here, or a rising wedge, which seems to be developing here. And I marked it before it ever got underway as a rising wedge. So far, that pattern is playing out. So we'll see, again, is the trend line just slightly changing here, breaching the previous trend line, and we get higher, and that's possible. Regardless, whether we go above the 38.2 Fibonacci here at 67,000 or we peak just below it, again, this rally is going to fail. Again, you're not going to be able to get above the 200 period, and you're eventually going back and taking out this low. And again, if you watch this video all the way through, I will show you why we are going to take out 57,000, why 57,000 is not the bottom, just as I told you 67 or 60,000 was not the bottom, just as I told you 80,000 was not the bottom. The same people that never saw the top, the same people that never saw the crash coming, are the same people that keep telling us that everything's the bottom. Now, if we could bounce here above the 50 period, and we're trying to, and again, if we could do it, we could move closer towards the 38.2 Fibonacci and maybe above it, closer towards the 50% retracement and closer towards our 100 period moving average and the upper end of the cloud. I told you the herd begin to say the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And again, evidence suggests, and if you watch the video all the way through, you'll see why. The evidence suggests that Bitcoin's going a whole lot lower than everybody thinks. And you evidence after evidence of why, again, 60,000 wasn't the bottom. I kept saying it in every video. I told you in every video, 80,000 is not the bottom over here. And again, I predicted these counter trend rallies. I told you they're not. They're going to be followed by new lows. And again, just over here, 99,000, 103,000, 105,000. People calling these bottoms, and now 59,000 and 57,000. All these people calling these bottoms are the same people that told us we had a breakout here, same people that told us we were going to 200 and 250,000 by the end of the year. They're clueless to what's going on. I still think you can form a divergence here on the RSI. Still try to go higher. My guess is you're going to, but as I've said, as I predicted, you're either going up to the 38.2 Fibonacci, getting a low just below it, which we've now done, or you're going to just move above it. And I have the guts to tell you what I think. I think we're likely going to go higher and push above that level. And you could see a divergence develop here. You could see a divergence develop on the 4-hour chart as well. This is a daily chart here. We've had these divergences that formed on the 4-hour chart that have given us pullbacks, and now you have a equal peak. This peak right here is equal to this one over here, so you still have a Class B divergence there, but you could get a divergence right here in the most recent price action, still come up here, go above the 38.2 Fibonacci, going above 67,000, this area here, and clearing this high right here, and move closer towards the 70,000 area. And the 100 period moving average in the daily time frame. So again, the trend line right here, we dropped below the 50. If we're just back testing the trend line, then maybe that's it. We'll need to see evidence of that though, and take out the 200 period moving average and see all the signals turn back to bearish. So I still think you have a shot at going higher. We'll see what happens, but this may be it. I need to see further evidence if that is the case. The MACD is turning back up, so I still think you're going to try to rally above this level. And again, we've dropped, going back to my other chart, we've dropped over 30%. We've now rallied back up 16.8%. Nothing goes straight down. Bitcoin could still move to our trend line or even overthrow it, and it could slightly change. If we break above it, then again, everybody's going to be going, it's a breakout. But as I've said, channels expand, trend lines change constantly. We've seen that already in this decline from this trend line breaking only to expand the channel, as I talked about. This trend line breaking only to expand the channel. Trend lines change all the time. But you got to flip the weekly signals back to bullish if this is going to end and get back above the 200 period, if this is going to end. And again, I'm telling you, 57,000 is not the bottom. Now, we did get a warning sign here that momentum was shifting. That means you're either getting a pullback or reversal. My guess is it's a pullback, and you're probably going to get one more push higher and get probably another test towards the Fibonacci's, probably exceeding 66,900. But if signals start turning back to bearish here, which right now we're bouncing off key support right here, then signals all begin to turn back to bearish, then maybe we have a peak at 66,000. My guess is that's not going to be the case, but I talked about both of those scenarios, just a low under the 38.2 Fibonacci or a high just above it. And do yourself a favor and watch the video all the way through. I'm going to share something very important with you. I am so confident we're going to new lows. Here the signal's been going back and forth from bearish to bullish to bearish to bullish, back to bearish here. I see more signals turn bearish. This is one of my early warning signs, so it's very sensitive. But again, we got these warning signs. Again, we did get rejection at the midpoint. We can have a bigger overthrow over here. We got above the midpoint, pull back, and then we got above it again. We can see something similar to that right here, just somewhere under or near our Fibonacci's and under the 50% retracement, as I'm saying, if we get above the 38.2 and under our 100. Even if you get above 70,000, which I doubt you're going to be able to clear 71,000, you'll probably peak under 71,000. Again, I don't think you're getting above the 200 period moving average, which has currently dropped down to the 72,000 area. Signal's still hanging in there. So we'll see a moment of truth. Do we bounce here surrounding our 50 period, the green line, or do we break it and see all the signals turn bearish? My guess is you're going to bounce and try to go back, test 66,900 and probably exceed it. Doesn't matter. It's a short-term price fluctuation. The rally's going to fail. Signals are still hanging in there, and as I've said, you could see something like this. You could see something that looks like this. So if the momentum signal warning signs are to produce a reversal, we've got to flip the signals all back to bearish. And right now, they're still hanging in there for the most part. So again, I think you're still going to try to go higher above the 38.2 Fibonacci, above the 67,000 level, the 38.2 Fibonacci. Probably peak somewhere between 67,000 and 70,000. Make sure you watch the video all the way through. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like my charts, and you will, and you like my indicators, and you will, because they're right. If you like that kind of information and that has educated you and helped you, then please support the channel. Follow the link below to take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. But please take a moment and support the channel today. Let me know you want this information, you like this information. These are the signals that I use to make my Bitcoin trading decisions. They've helped me greatly. I ask that you support the channel rather than have sponsors. A lot of shady things going on with these exchanges. So I just ask that you do what you can to help out. They've really helped me be a successful Bitcoin trader, and I hope they educate you. I need to hear from you. I just put it out there and ask that you do what you can to help out. So when you finish watching this video, go support the channel today, and especially after you see what I'm about to show you of why Bitcoin's going lower and why I have the confidence that it's going lower. I thank you for your consideration for that. We'll see, do signals remain bullish? Try to go a little higher into the Fibonacci's, closer towards the 100 and the 200 period moving average. We've had these warning signs with momentum, many indicators, but again, it's either telling us we have a pullback or a reversal. You got to flip all the swing trend signals back to bearish. Most of them are still bullish if this is going to play out. Otherwise, we can go back up and exceed that high and still form a divergence on the 4-hour chart, on the daily RSI, and still test the Fibonacci's and the moving averages. Again, I still believe that we're in wave 2. I think that you have this ABC in a 5-3-5 pattern, 5 legs for A, the black count, B, 3 legs for B, and I think you're in this 5-leg push lower. And again, we may even try to overthrow the trend line just a little bit or just go back up to it and reverse. Here we flirted with it a few times. In the 200 period, we may flirt again. The Fibonacci's or the 100 or the trend line a couple of times, but it's going to likely be followed by this crash wave 3. And why am I so confident of that? Well, just as I was so confident of the first leg down, the crash to kick off the bear market, of being at least 50 to 52%. And I was right. We hit 60,000 right on the nose. Why am I so confident about the second leg down? You know, back at the top, when everybody was predicting 200 and 250,000, I called a top. Day at the top as we slammed into resistance and flipped from bullish to bearish. I had a Fibonacci extension target if resistance can clear to 150 to 157,000. Those were the next Fibonacci extension levels. But I told you, again, the 4-year cycle could play out with the divergences and evidence of a top. I called a top and predicted that we get a crash of 50 to 52% minimum. It might be more to kick off the bear market. And I was shouted down and called a clown and told, I posted charts like this, told it was the most stupidest chart they've ever seen and what a fool I was. And yet I was right. We had this rally and I told you, I believe this is the bear market rally and I believe it's over with. And I think we're now starting on May 6th. I told you, I think the bear market rally peaked, which so far that peak is holding. And I think we're getting the next leg down of the bear market. I posted this chart yesterday. Same reaction. This was with the FTX collapse. The FTX collapse was the black swan event that ended the bear market. Somebody say that to me yesterday. Oh, we don't have that here. Just attack again, just as they attacked me when I called the top. I had a boatload of signals, like right here, boatload of signals that marked the week at the top that began to turn bearish right after we peaked, weekly in the daily time frame. This is the weekly chart here. Why was I so confident that 80,000 was not the bottom, or 99,000 was not the bottom, and 60,000, 60 to 63,000 would be reached with the 50 to 52% drop? That was my minimum objective target. Why was I so confident of that? Because that's what Bitcoin does. Anybody that examines the evidence will see that Bitcoin gets a crash to kick off the bear market, and the crash is 50% or more. Bitcoin gets a bear market. Here we dropped 52%. We rallied up to the 200 in the daily. Here we dropped 52%. We rallied up to the 200 in the daily. And that's why I called another peak on May 6th. And I told you, I believe that is the bear market rally. It's more feeble. This one was 46%. This one was just under 37%. I posted this chart that Bitcoin does what it's done just with the last bear market, other bear markets. Dropped 68% after the bear market rally. We had a bigger crash than the first leg down. The second leg down was bigger than the first. And in each case, we never exceeded the peak of the bear market rally peak. We never did until the bear market ended. And I have signals that will tell me exactly when it ends. I posted this chart yesterday on X, and you can follow me at King of the Charts on X. Just look for King of the Charts on X and you'll find me. But I posted this, and again, always get the trolls and the haters. Just as they attacked me when I called the peak and predicted the first leg down, they're attacking me as I'm predicting the second leg down of the bear market. And even some people were bearish, or Johnny-come-latelys that got bearish, now turning bullish. A couple of others are saying, well, we'll go down. My second favorite moon boy, for instance, is saying we're going to go down just a little bit lower, below 50,000 area, and then we'll bottom. All these people, and again, I'm being attacked because nobody else is saying this. All you got to do is look at what Bitcoin's done in history, and that's why I keep being right. Again, two observations. The second leg down of the bear market is worse than the first. The second leg down. So if we're going to have a crash. We've only crashed here 30% since I called the second leg down. Okay, the second leg down, if we're going to go worse than 52%, that means we're at least going to 53% right here. That means we're at least going down to this level right here, 53%. That's the 38,000, just under 39,000 area. Okay, so if we drop 53%, and this is 52.5%, so I've marked it here 53.5%. So if we go down 1 more percent than this leg down right here, you're at least going to the 39,000 level. Not the low 50,000 area, not 57,000 being a bottom. And it's amazing. They attack me for making these predictions, but I continue to be right. Their predictions about everything being a bottom and a fake phony breakout. Oh, it's a breakout. It's a breakout. It's a breakout. But because they're moon boys making these predictions and the herd is a bunch of perma bulls, nobody calls them on the carpet. We've dropped now 54% down to our 57,000 low from when I called the top. Nevertheless, I digress. Bitcoin does what it did the last bear market, dropping 52%, rallying back up to the 200-day, and then seeing the bottom fall to Bitcoin dropping 68%. total drop of nearly 80%, 78.5%. And I am open-minded, again, for a smaller bear market. The bear markets are getting smaller. I'm open-minded to that. Bear markets have averaged 80 to 90%. So too here, we dropped 52%. We rallied up to the 200 period. If we just drop 68%, you're dropping down to the 26,000 area. That's my upper end of my target, which has been an 80 to 90% drop for Bitcoin, between 12 and 13,000 to 25 to 26,000 or so. 80 to 90% drop. So if we just do what we did over here, again, Bitcoin would drop down to the 25 to 26,000 area, not 57,000 being the bottom, not the low 57,000 area, not even a 53% drop from the lower high at about the 38 or 39,000 area. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? How I was able to correctly predict the crash to kick off the bear market is because I just simply look at history and be objective. Most people can't be objective, and most people predict things after they happen. I predict things before they happen because I look at what's happened in the past, and we can see similar behavior in each bear market. Although it's not a perfect replica, there are similarities. Two observations, and I'm going to show you all the bear markets. Two observations. One is that after you've had the bear market rally, you never got back above it, and you crashed. You never got back above it until the bear market ended. So we're not going above the 82,000 area with this rally, definitely, unless the bear market ends, and it's likely not ending because you're probably going to get a bigger drop than the first leg down of the bear market. Second observation is that the second leg down of the bear market is worse than the first. So we're going to get a bigger crash, worse than 52.5%, which is what we crashed the first leg down. So we're going to drop at least 52% or more. So I've marked it as 53. We're at least going to drop down to the 38 and 39,000 area, at least. Those of you that are saying, well, maybe we can get a smaller bear market amount, smaller than the 78.5%, each bear market smaller, and I'm open-minded to that. Maybe. Then maybe we bottom around 38, 39% or be in the 30s somewhere, but not going all the way down into the 20,000 level. I'm minded to that, but my signals would have to validate that. We want to be objective here. We don't want to do what the Moon Boys do and say it's my way or no way. Try to fit this square peg into the round hole with their perma-bull nonsense rather than objectively looking at what Bitcoin is doing. By the way, I create my own indicators. My indicator did a great job of marking the reversal, the counter trend, and then now it's signaling that we are still not finished with this, getting another leg down here. So we're still on a sell signal. And there is no evidence of a Bitcoin bottom, as I've said. I'm going to show you. So the two observations is one, that the first leg down is worse than the first. And secondly, that the bear market does not end. The second leg down, going down, does not exceed the bear market rally until the bear market is over. Once after that significant drop, going back above the bear market peak, the bear market rally peak, I said bear market over here, bear market rally, going back above the bear market rally peak, again, you had a significant drop, and again, the bull market was well underway by the time we did that. So those two observations, and you can see it over and over again in every bear market. Let's take a look. We talked about this bear market already. Again, 52% drop, a bear market rally, and then the crash of 68% for the next second leg down. It was worse than the first. Total drop 78.5% from the peak. The bear market of 2021 and 2022. Here's the bear market of 2017 and 18. We peaked December 2017. We dropped 70%. Again, crash to kick off the bear market. Had a rally of almost 101% off of that low. And again, we're looking at the weekly chart. And then that crash that followed, and that was a 70.49% crash, followed by a 100% rally, got a lower high. And then after that, we had another crash with some trend rallies along the way, and we had a 73% crash. The second crash, 73.5%, was worse than the first at 70.5%, worse than the first. In totality, we dropped 84%. So the bear markets are getting smaller, at least for now, but that may change. Bitcoin's never had a dot-com bubble type crash in the market. It's bear market. Bitcoin's never had a bad recession, which we're moving into here. Bitcoin's never experienced an oil shock. Bitcoin's never experienced a banking crisis. So again, a bunch of things that we're going to see happen. Bitcoin's never experienced any of that. Now, Bitcoin may bottom before the stock market. The Fed does jumbo cuts in the fourth quarter or quarter one of 2027. The herd believes that's bullish, so we're going to crash, and that would be a catalyst for a potential Bitcoin bottom. But here, 2017 and 18, second crash was worse than the first at 73.5%, and the crash to kick off the bear market, 70%, bear market rally, and then a bigger crash. Bear market from 2013 to 2015, an 80% bear market. Again, the crash to kick off the bear market, 72.32%. Bear market rally, 102.69%. Again, followed by a bigger crash of 76.61%. So the 76.61%, bigger than the first leg down of 72%, and we never exceeded the peak of the bear market rally. We never got back above it until the bear market was over with this double bottom pattern. The two takeaways. We're not going back above 82,000, which was the peak of our bear market rally. Secondly, the second leg down of the bear market will be worse than the first. 76%, almost 70, or over 76.5%. Here, nearly 72.5%. Bear market of 2013 to 15. And look at what a great job my indicators did of marking the turns. Let's go back to the first Bitcoin bear market. The first Bitcoin bear market, 81, almost 82% drop, 81.99%. A bear market rally of 108.79%, so almost 109% rally, okay, off of the low. And then a crash for the second leg down of 83.5%. The 83.5%, once again, the second leg down, 83.5% was worse than the first, here of nearly 82%. The second leg down was worse than the first in our first bear market, and this was the largest market we've had so far. This was 93%. We could see this happen again. We could see an 80 to 90% drop. Back to test our bear market low at 15,000, either just above it or just below it, as I've talked so much about. Every single case, you had a crash. Kick off the bear market. Here it was almost 82%. A bear market rally, a big bear market rally. Here, almost 109%. And then that was followed by a bigger crash. Here of 83.5%. Every single time. In all of these bear markets, here's 2013 to 15 again, all these bear markets, the second leg down was worse than the first. This is why I'm confident the second leg down will be worse than the first right now. As I told you, Bitcoin gets a crash to kick off the bear market. After the bear market, the second leg down is worse than the first. 2017 to 18, second leg down is worse than the first. We never, after the bear market rally, we never exceeded that level until the bear market ended. That's why I'm telling you, we're not going above 82,000. I doubt we get above the 73, 74,000 area. 2021 to 2022, again, the second leg down was worse than the first. 58% worse than 52%. So the second leg down worse than the first, and we never exceeded the bear market rally high until the bear market was over. So observations, why I'm so confident. 57,000 is not the bottom, just as I was confident with the first leg down to kick off the crash to kick off the bear market, why we were going lower, why 80,000 wasn't the bottom, 99,000, all the rest of it, why we were going to at least 60 to 63,000, I was correct, and why I'm predicting the next leg down of the bear market, why I'm confident that it will be at least bigger than this to 53%, likely much bigger, but at least to 38 to 39,000, but more likely much bigger, because that's what Bitcoin does. And again, if we just do what we did before, 68,000, it takes you down to 20, 25,000. We get a bigger crash than that. some of the things I've talked about. Again, I still think there's risk of our channel, our measured move, taking us down to 12 or 13,000. Nobody thinks that's possible. Like back over here, nobody thought 15,000 was possible down here at our low. And when we got above 60,000, they said, oh, we're never going below 60,000 again, as Bitcoin crashed down, quickly losing 52%. We have people saying the same thing when Bitcoin got above 100,000. Oh, Bitcoin's never going below 100,000 again. And then when we hit 80,000, you had some people saying, oh, Bitcoin's never going below 80,000 again. What I'm telling you makes more sense than anything else out there being right. And what I'm telling you is unpopular. What I'm telling you continues to be right. Prove me wrong. I'm just basing things on historical facts. That's why I continue to be right. I don't think this rally, as I've said, goes above the 74,000 area, because then you'll start flipping things back to bullish. I think that's less likely. But as I've said, I don't think you're getting above the bear market rally high at 82,000, and probably not above the 74,000 area. And more likely, you're going to stall under 71,000 with this rally and resume the decline. Right now, by the way, we're getting a topping tail weekly time frame. So again, if the rally is done, we need to see evidence of that with signals flipping bearish. I still think there's a chance we go a little bit higher. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The rally is going to fail. Now, if you like this kind of cutting edge information, make sure you support the channel when you finish watching this video. This is why I have complete confidence that 57,000 is not the bottom.